So good now. So let's start. Yeah. Okay, and welcome again to today's event. We are talking about L4M1. And this recent event, I need to say that it was pretty difficult and challenging. Especially, there are two questions that you may not see any hint from the study guide from the book. So how can we answer that? But at least with the other two, then they are still very standardized and very familiar to SIP student. Okay, so let's look at the questions in detail. First question, very conventional and probably the question that most students will perform pretty well. Uh, that is a question on the fire rise and the application of fire rise in procurement. So basically, it is very extremely basic, kind of like foundation knowledge of procurement. So very likely that most of you do this pretty well. The second question also quite popular, and it is about the structured sourcing process. I don't have the specific question here, but based on the way that I received the report from other students, then I assume that this question is about the definition and the benefits of structured sourcing process. Sorry, I need to mute all of you. And when the time comes, then I may allow you to unmute. But for now, then I need to mute. I don't want to hear any background noise in the meeting. Okay, I hope that you understand. All right. So the second question is about structure sourcing process. Then come with the third and the fourth. Okay, you may see that they are pretty unconventional and see seems like there's no part in the study guide covering these areas. The third question is about good governance, and more specifically, it asks about the methods to achieve the good governance in procurement function. All right, so sound pretty unfamiliar, and the question is how we can answer this. Let's follow this event and I will give you the answer. And the final question, question number 4, about the procurement in details. Uh, I think that the assessor want to ask you about how procurement should adapt in the environment like retail sector. Okay, so they are the 4 questions, and you see that number 1 and number 2 are quite popular, and they are also very well mentioned in the study guide. But with number 3 and number 4, then they seem like more challenging, and I think that we need to have kind of like look at our document rather than just relying on the study guide. All right, so I wish no longer, and I'm going to the details of these 4 questions. The first question on the fire rise, then as you know, really very basic, and most students may perform this very well. But here, I just highlight to show you that to achieve, to maximize your score in this question, then you may need to write about some key aspects of the fire rise. Okay, first, its objectives. Like what would be the purpose of certain right, like the right quality, or the right quantity. Okay, so with right quality, then we want something fit for purpose, and they can solve the problem for the organization. So that is the objective. For right quantity, then we want to purchase something in the right quantity, not too much, not too little, and they will help us to um, reduce the cost, like holding the inventory or something like that. Okay, so that will be the objective. Second, then you may write about the benefit of such right, or you may also write about the potential risks or losses if we are not achieving a certain right. Like if we don't achieve the right quality, then we may incur additional costs for rework or um, for repurchase again. Okay, so they are the loss. And by getting the right quality, then we may avoid those costs. And this one, the fourth part, it depends on the special question. But I think that even with the basic question, then recently they may pay more attention to the part about like how we can achieve that right. For this one, then previously I often suggest the student to read part 1.4 in their Form 6, but with the new study guide, then you may see it directly from the relevant part in the study guide. Okay, from I don't remember. Probably it's from 1.2 in study guide. So they just describe many ways to achieve the right. So you may consult from those pages. Just in case that you are not aware of them, then to achieve each of the right, then we may apply some methods like with the right quality. Then we need to first part to prepare the sorry, not prepare, but to challenge the requisition and understand the user and the business problem in general, so that we may suggest a better solution or the solution with better price. Then we can into other methods like engage in the cross-functional team or standardization or value analysis, value engineering, etc. With the right quantity, then to purchase the right quantity, you need first to know your inventory. That's why we need to manage the inventory and also forecast and manage the demand. So by the way, then we understand what we have in the inventory and place the order accordingly. With the right price, then we need to purchase the item not at the lowest price, not at the lowest purchase price, but we need to consider other aspects as well. And here, then you may consider about applying the cycle cost here. But to achieve the right price, then we may apply other working methods, like using make or buy decision. If we make and if making it cheaper than buying, then we just go to make. Or we may maximize the use of competitive tendering and increasing competition with between the suppliers. And finally, with the right time and the right place, then the key here would be the communication and checking the contract performance so that they don't derail from regular performance. All right, so that is the first question on the fried rice, and it is very basic. So I think that all of you will do this pretty well. The second question on structures procurement process, or um, here actually then I need to clarify some word. In the older study guide, right, from 2018, then they use the word structured sourcing process. And with the new study guide released in 2024, then they use the word structured procurement process. So sometimes they may ask you to define this type process. Just, just in case that you don't remember exactly the definition from the study guide, then here is some ways that you may try to recall it. First, we may try to analyze the word here by analyzing each of its component. So we may start with the part process. A process is it is kind of like an assemble of multiple steps, okay, of multiple works and technique, and then we need to sort them in a sequential way, and uh, normally then we just follow them. So a process, this kind of process, first it is a process, so it is a string of actions, and we have a sequence from 1 to 10, something like that, and that is about the part process. Second, about the part structure, then it means that this kind of process is well documented, is well arranged, and it may be redefined in many times, okay, through the continuous improvement. And finally, with the part procurement, then obviously we see that this one or this process is applied to sourcing and procurement. So um by analyzing each part of this compound word, then you may easily reconstruct the definition without remembering the whole sentence from study guide. And in the exam, then they don't judge you just because you don't write exactly the same as in the study guide, but they just want to test your ability to read and understand. And with this kind of question, then they also ask about the benefits of structured sourcing process. So actually, then really also very well covered in study guide. They normally list like 4 to 5 benefits, like the consistency, support collaboration, traceability, and training support, or support the training of the new employee. First, with the consistency, then it means that um, with the structured sourcing process, then we treat every supplier the same because they go through the same process. So there's no bias here. And the supplier may sense the fairness toward every player here. With this one, then we may ensure an genuine, competition. a genuine competition, and also getting the best result from the competition. Second, the structured sourcing process also support the collaboration, because when we have the documented process, it means that everyone know what to do next, and we don't need to communicate too much to get everyone what they need to do. Uh, the third the third benefit would be about the traceability and ability to audit and transparency. And finally, the structured sourcing process also provide the materials for new employee to work on, and they may improve themselves and align themselves better to the organization. That is the second question. The third question about good governance. So basically, this one is pretty challenging, and there's no relevant part in the study guide. So with the governance, then I would like to introduce it first before I go to the question and answer. Uh, okay, so first we need to understand the definition. I'm showing three different definitions from three different respectable organizations. First, from SIP, they say that governance is the mechanism, procedures, and processes that are used to control and direct an organization. With PMI or Project Management Institute, then they say that governance is a structured way to produce, to provide control, direction, and coordination through people, policies, processes to meet organizational strategic and operational goals. And finally, the definition from IFC, or the International Finance Corporation, or it is a subsidiary from the World Bank. Um, with the three definitions, then you may see that there are some similarities between them. Okay, so you can see from the three definitions, then we have the same keyword like coordination, right? Coordination, and also the mechanism, procedures, something like that. So essentially, then governance is kind of like a practice that combine many elements, and I identify that there are three elements within the governance, and it shares the that kind of similarities across the definition here. So the elements here include first the hierarchy or the power structure and the allocation of tasks. Second, then it is about the guideline provided by the policies. Okay, every organization will try to align it, their action by some policy. Like you should avoid to engage in the conflict of interest transaction. And finally, the governance needs the process and procedures to handle the task. The question this time in May is about the ways in which procurement may improve the good governance in their organization. So before I go into the answer for that kind of question, then fortunately for us, back in 2013 or 2014, then we have a question about the barriers to the achievement of good governance. Within the sample question answer, then they list some barriers like the lack of support from senior management or the lack of clarity on the structure, policies, and processes. Okay, so with the new question like in May, then you just need to flip this side of the slide. Just need to slip. We just need to reverse the answer here. Okay, so these things are the barriers. And if you want to achieve the real good governance, then you need to counter all of these barriers. So I am showing some example like this. Okay, so to overcome the lack of support from senior management, then we may seek the assistance from senior management and overcome their resist to change. Okay, by suggesting about the return on investment or um, any other matrix that you may convince the senior management. Second, then to reverse the lack of cooperation, then we need more cooperation. The third barrier would be about the ICT and system integration. So just simply invest and improve the system, then you're good to go. The next barrier would be about the lack of clarity on the model, on the policies, on the structure. Then here, very simple. You just need to reduce the complexity and clarify on the model, on the structure, on the role of that policy. Okay, within this question. The next one would be the lack of resources, like the procurement wants to make some change, but they don't have enough resource. So they need to ask for additional resources by convincing the senior management. Okay, so normally these people are the budget holder. So if you want to have more resources for the application of good governance, then we may ask them for more, especially if you can explain about the return on investment that they are about to pay. And finally, we have the lack of current and coordination within procurement itself. So here, only the final part focus more on procurement rather than other area in Hanoi, in my country. So you see that if you want to achieve the good governance, then we need to reverse the barriers and counter the barrier. Okay, so that is the way we may answer this question. For this one, then you will receive my slide, so don't worry. And this question is pretty unpopular. I don't know if in July we see the same thing. Anyway, then just prepare for any question. So just look at this one. And normally with question number 3, they mostly ask about the benefits or the risk or the advantage or disadvantage of some procurement structure like centralized or decentralized. But recently, then they may change a bit, like they may ask about conflict interest or for this one about the good governance. So we need to prepare for every case. The final question about retail and manufacturing. Sorry, actually, then from my student, then they just say about the retail. But previously, but quite a long time ago, there was a question about comparing between the procurement in retail and procurement in manufacturing. With this one, then first you need to understand some key features in each sector. And with this question, then it's only about the retail. So we need to understand about the features of retail and how they may impact on procurement activities. With retails, then we may focus on their operations and some key features that may have the impact on procurement, like about the purpose of the purchase here. In retail, then the purchase, we as procurement, we don't purchase the raw material or the components. We purchase the finished product and for resale. And with this kind of purchase, then the demand would be uh, more likely to be independent rather than dependent. And the product range would be very wide. And in retail, then the major capital investment would be the warehouse, the cold supply chain would be about the marketing, and the supply relationship tend to be shallow and not as diverse as in manufacturing. Because in retail, then the competition is very fierce, and uh, there are many substitutes to the supplier product. So we may easily switch, and there are very low risk on the supply. So the relationship here tend to be shallow. The point here is that listing these things are not enough. It's not enough. You also need to analyze the impact on procurement activity as well. Okay, so you may try to analyze each point. Like first, the purchase or resale. So since we need to purchase the finished product for resale, then you need to understand the market, especially the customer. So with this one, procurement need to collaborate with other departments, especially the marketing and sales team, to understand the market trend and make the sourcing decision correctly. Okay, like recently in the market, they may have like want to purchase the more organic food. So we need to purchase more organic food from the farmers. Okay, we need to understand the trend. We need to understand the customer and decide the sourcing decision correctly. Okay, so that would be the first impact. Second, also with the finished product, because the customer, normally consumer, purchase these products for direct use. So there is a risk that the product may have some harm on the user on the customer. So when you purchase this thing, then you need to qualify your suppliers about product safety. Next, on the point of inventory management, then most of the input and products retail are independent demand. So we need to calculate, make the forecast and monitoring the demand correctly. With manufacturing, then they purchase raw material or components, and all of them are dependent demand. If you want to distinguish between dependent and independent demand, then just look at study guide of L4M7. Here, I don't explain that again because it's calculate the work, the knowledge area from our study guide. Okay, so with independent demand, then we need to closely track the demand and forecast that as close as possible. Okay, so not 100% correct, but we need to monitor constantly and adjust accordingly. When the retail needs to manage a wide range of product, so here the solution would be about using category measurement and use other technologies for tracking like the barcode or RFID. Because when you have a lot of product and also a lot in the quantity as well, so you need to track the performance, you need to track the revenue, and you need to track the spend on those products. Therefore, first, we may apply category measurement to focus on some key product only. And second, then to support the analysis and spend analysis, then we may need to use the technologies for tracking like the barcode or RFID. With the capital investment, then just like with any other business, we need to focus on the outlet cost, on return on investment, and whether this project is worth to follow. And finally, with weaker supplier relationship, then with weaker supplier relationship, then it means we need to focus more on contract management rather than relationship management, because we don't need to like maintain the relationship, but mostly about tracking the performance. So contract management would be more important than relationship management. All right, so they are the 4 questions in recent exam. And as you know, then we provide this event for free. We invite people in, and we also provide helpful information. So supported by getting our practice question on the on Udemy website. And currently, we don't have any revision class, but for other exam series like in September or in November, then we may reopen the class. And also remember to submit your question or any concern about the exam to our WhatsApp or email. We will try to answer that, although recently we see a surge in the demand, and there are a lot of messages that we could not handle it all. But we'll try to help you and answer the question as much as we can. Okay, so that's the end for today. Okay, so that's the end for today. And actually, I'm a bit tired, and I think that I could not continue with the Q&A session. So if you want to ask us any question, then just submit to our email or WhatsApp, and we are pleased to share. Okay, so I think that I need to end this early and get a rest. I feel very tired now. Okay, so goodbye. See you later in other event.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.